The official version of the events that took place on July 7, 2005 appears straightforward. 4 British Muslims carrying large rucksacks packed with explosives caught a train from Luton to London. There, they blew themselves up. 3 on the Underground, 1 on a bus. 52 passengers were killed, 784 injured. But we have found that a significant proportion of British Muslims question whether that's really what happened that day.
Do you think that the government has told the whole truth about the 7/7 bombings?
Absolutely not.
I don't think them 4 guys did it. They could have just been like passengers on the train and the buses.
I think that the government, they were looking for people to blame. It was convenient.
How common are these views? Channel 4 News commissioned a survey of 500 British Muslims to find out. They were asked, has the government told the whole truth about the July 7th bombings? Nearly 60% of those polled said no. And when we asked, were the 4 men identified as the bombers actually responsible for the attacks, nearly a quarter said no.
These views can't be dismissed as belonging to a minority fringe of extremists or fantasists. What's significant about our survey is that it's based on a random selection of ordinary British Muslims from across the whole country.
I travelled to a number of cities and spoke to ordinary Muslims from different communities and different backgrounds. Exactly the type of people Tony Blair said today he wanted to reach out to. Leeds, West Yorkshire. This is where 3 of the bombers grew up. Revelations at a recent trial that 2 of them had been under surveillance a year before the attacks have increased doubts here. Musarat Sajawal is a voluntary worker in the city. She believes the attacks may have been set up as part of an exercise for the security services.
Back, please, unless you want to speak.
When trains were being bombed, there were training exercises for the police going on around terrorist attacks, and it's just very orchestrated, constructed, a little bit like training for the army and then going in and doing the real thing.
One of the chief tools used by governments as a smokescreen is staging exercises or drills at the exact same time and exact same places as real events. When the Oklahoma City Federal Building was bombed, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms was staging an anti-terror drill with their bomb squad on the morning of April 19, 1995, at the same time that the real event took place. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the Pentagon was running 5 separate drills, 2 of the drills targeting the exact same targets at the exact same time. That caused NORAD to stand down, believing it was just a drill. And London was no different. It's important to note that those taking part in the drills need not know that they're part of a larger operation. In fact, it's better for the conspirators that they not be informed. One of the chief reasons this is done is so that if any of the operatives carrying out the attack are caught by other elements of the government, they can simply claim that they were taking part in a drill or an exercise. NSA, Infopol 9, and Echelon-type systems that are scanning for terrorist chatter will be fooled into believing they've simply picked up part of an exercise. On the morning of 7/7 in London, there was a simultaneous exercise targeting the exact same trains, the exact same bus, at the exact same locations, at the very same time.
What we're supposed to believe is some kind of coincidence. There was also an anti-terrorist drill going on 7/7. And again, just like 9/11, they were talking about attacks on the same targets, the same kind of tube stations, and exactly the same time as the actual attack happened.
Do you think you're being paranoid?
I don't think that we're being paranoid. How many times are we going to arrest people purely for knowing somebody, purely for having breathed the same air? Why is that happening?
In a Birmingham snooker hall, I found others who believe Muslims have been scapegoated for the attacks. I met Mohammed Hafiz, a bank clerk, and his friend Osman Khan.
Even that picture of them, all four of them together, that was a fake.
Why do you say it was a fake? Why was it fake?
That's been proven. Basically, when people reviewed the picture, you could see like his legs were behind the railings and his body was in front.
But do you honestly think that they would fake evidence and that they would blame it on these four men if these four men didn't do it?
I mean, these four men they're deceased now, they've passed away, so obviously you'd rather blame them because there's nobody to argue the case.
To be part of the government, you got to be a good liar. Put it that way.
Some of the opinions about the July 7th bombings may seem shocking or even offensive. But there's now a growing movement on the internet which claims to have uncovered a conspiracy to suppress the truth about what really happened.
The events of 7/7 did not happen the way they've been described.
In much the same way as 9/11 gave birth to a host of online conspiracy theorists, 7/7 has also spawned a community of people who totally disbelieve the government.
Dozens of websites list what they claim are apparent inconsistencies, errors, and even lies in the official version of events.
And let's be clear, none of the people on the bus said they saw any Asian men.
No, they didn't.
The other witnesses said they didn't, but did you see any Asian men?
None whatsoever. None on board the bus, none carrying a rucksack.
Give us a thumbnail sketch of what happened on that bus that morning, what you witnessed, and then any more details that you haven't already given us for the Infowars.net story. And then I first want to say thank you for your courage, sir. Tell us first about yourself and how you got the courage to go public.
Okay, I'm just a regular guy. I've born, bred, work in London, and that day I was on my way to work in Old Street, and there was some kind of disruption going on. We were told it was a power surge, and we were evacuated, and that's how I became to be on the bus. And then after that, the bus left Euston, full of passengers who were also evacuated, and the bus seemed to be going nowhere. So I looked out of because I was standing on the lower deck, because I wasn't sure whether I was on the correct bus. And then I peered ahead, and I saw these two cars, which were a Mercedes and a BMW, blue and black, which seemed to be in front of the bus, holding it up, and it was diverted